Have you been feeling the ache of distance, wondering why the one who once stirred your soul has now disappeared into silence? You've done the work. You've loved, surrendered, healed, and held the frequency through storms of longing. But now, as the energy grows heavier and the connection feels suspended in stillness, you're left asking, what's happening on the other side? Has he forgotten? Has he given up? Or is something far deeper unfolding that your eyes just can't see yet? In today's video, we're not chasing closure or clinging to the past. We're stepping into the mystery, the sacred silence that surrounds the divine masculine as he faces his soul's most crucial test. This is the moment before reunion that no one talks about. A moment that looks like distance, but is truly pressure. Pressure to collapse every false self, release inherited masks, and awaken to the truth of who he's here to become. We'll help you understand this invisible labor, why he must walk this alone, and why your surrender now is not giving up, but rising into your true power. By the end of this video, you won't just see the silence differently, you'll feel it differently. You'll understand the sacred role you've already played and the beauty of the becoming that is now his to walk. You'll no longer wait in confusion, but rest in divine knowing. This shift isn't the end, it's the crossing, and your clarity, your trust, and your release become the final keys that unlock the union you were always destined for. Number 1. The portal of collapse and reckoning. This is not the threshold of romance. There are no bouquets, no apologies, no poetic words to mark this moment. What stands before the divine masculine now is a portal unlike any he's ever faced, one carved not from love letters, but from collapse. It is the unraveling of everything he thought made him strong. The identity he once wore like armor is being stripped away, thread by thread, and what remains is the raw, trembling truth of who he really is underneath the conditioning, the ego, the fear. To the outside world, it may look like silence, like distance, like he's disappeared. But this isn't absence, it's pressure. The kind of pressure a soul feels when it stands in front of its final mirror. He is being asked to confront himself without the usual distractions. Relationships begin to fall away. Long-held dreams no longer feel fulfilling. Triggers erupt like earthquakes through his emotional body, exposing wounds he can no longer avoid. But none of it is random. This is divine orchestration at work, surgically removing every illusion that kept him asleep. He is being invited, no, demanded, to choose truth over comfort, to choose love even when fear screams louder, to surrender ego in favor of soul. And though he may not speak of it, you will feel it. You'll sense it in the quiet spaces where his energy once filled the room. You'll feel it in your own body, where subtle frequencies of grief, hope, and transformation echo. The silence between you may crackle with uncertainty, but also with potential, because something sacred is shifting. This portal is not about performance, it's about purification. It is here, in the absence of noise, that his soul begins its rebirth. And while you may not see it with your eyes, trust that you're witnessing something monumental, an awakening that has only just begun. If you've made it this far, pause and breathe. Let yourself feel the weight of what he's walking through, not from a place of waiting, but from a place of witnessing. This isn't just his transformation, it's a mirror of your own. Where have you been asked to release old identities? Where have you chosen truth, even when it terrified you? Your reflections matter. Share in the comments what this brings up for you, or if you're not ready to share, simply type, "I trust the sacred unraveling," as an affirmation that you're walking this path with awareness and grace. Let your voice become part of the healing field. We're in this together. Number 2. The sacred solitude of his becoming. There comes a moment in every soul's evolution when the path narrows so completely that no one can walk it with you. This is that moment for the divine masculine. He now stands before the portal of his own becoming, and for the first time, he must face what lives inside him without anyone to rescue him from it, not even you. This is not a time for guidance, nor for rescue, and certainly not for reassurance. It is a time for rebirth, a time when the boy must die so the man can emerge. And this emergence, this sacred becoming, must happen in solitude. You, divine feminine, have done so much already. You've carried the weight of the connection when he could not. You've transmuted pain, anchored unconditional love, cried rivers of release, and expanded your frequency again and again to hold space for him, for yourself, and for a future neither of you could yet see. But now, the divine asks something different of you. Not to hold on tighter, but to loosen your grip. Not to lead him through the fire, but to let him burn in it. Because this transformation is his alone. This moment doesn't arrive with poetry or romance. It doesn't feel like love songs or twin flame quotes. It feels like panic. It looks like silence. It echoes with disconnection. It may even feel like loss. But it's not. It is the sacred unraveling, the collapse of everything false that he once clung to. And yes, it may break your heart to witness it from afar, but trust that the disintegration is necessary, because only through the breaking can his true self emerge. This is the divine undoing that precedes his becoming. The truth is, you cannot guide him through this, not because you don't love him deeply, but because love, in this moment, means surrender. It means trusting the process even when you can't see the outcome. It means letting him face his demons and choose his light without being the reason he does it. And that is the most courageous act of love. To step back, not in detachment, but in spiritual confidence that the divine has him now. Behind the veil of his silence, behind what may seem like distance or emotional shutdown, something ancient is stirring in him. His soul is waking up. Not with grand gestures or external validation, but through inner reckoning, through loneliness, through confronting his shadow, through rediscovering who he is when he is no longer performing, hiding, or seeking external approval. This is the sacred solitude that births sovereignty. So, if he seems far, if his energy feels unreachable, know that he's not disappearing, he's deepening. And though he may not be able to explain what's happening, his soul is answering a call older than memory. Let go of the need to fix or follow. Let go of the fear that silence means abandonment. Instead, anchor into your own knowing that on the other side of this void, he is not returning as a wounded counterpart. He is returning as a reborn man, whole, conscious, and ready. Because his breakdown is not the end, it is the sacred beginning of his breakthrough. Number 3. The divine feminine's mirror role. As the divine masculine collapses into the raw truth of his becoming, you may feel a strange ache stirring within your own body, a deep fatigue that washes over you, waves of emotion that seem to arise from nowhere, or a heavy sadness that clings to the edges of your joy. These sensations are not random. They are echoes, energetic reverberations of his awakening, pulsing through your spiritual bond like aftershocks from a distant quake. His soul is unraveling, and though your physical lives may be separate, your connection remains woven in invisible threads of energy. You feel him, because at the deepest level, you are him. But here is the sacred truth you must remember. This is not yours to fix, not this time. His awakening is not your burden to carry, nor your mission to complete. It is his own soul's sacred initiation. And your role in this chapter of the journey is not to interfere, but to anchor, to become the still, unwavering presence of love that no longer contorts itself to be chosen or validated. not to chase after the version of him you miss, not to beg for clarity or closure, not to abandon your own growth in the name of waiting, but to stand fully in your sovereignty, in your wholeness, and in the radiant embodiment of your truth. Every time you choose yourself over longing, you shift the energy between you. Every time you nurture your joy, your peace, your purpose, without making him the center of your becoming, you send a signal into the quantum field that his soul cannot ignore. It's not a cry for help. It's a call to rise. You are teaching him not with words, but with frequency. You are showing him what true union looks like. Not dependency, not sacrifice, but love rooted in self-honoring. And whether he consciously knows it or not, he is watching, not with his eyes, but with his energy. He feels the changes in you. He feels the softness that no longer seeks, the love that no longer begs, the radiance that no longer dims itself to keep peace. You have become his mirror, not to reflect his pain, but to reveal his potential. Your stillness becomes the structure he can lean into. Your wholeness becomes the blueprint he remembers. Your peace becomes the map through which he finds his way home, not to the old version of you, but to the version of himself he has long forgotten. So when the ache rises, when the sadness visits, when the energy feels heavy, pause, ground. Remember, you are not being punished. You are being reminded of your power. Stay centered in your heart. Trust the silent alchemy that is unfolding beneath the surface. You are not waiting. You are becoming. And in that becoming, you are already guiding him, not with force, but with frequency. Not with action, but with embodiment. Not by pulling him forward, but by standing still in your light, unwavering and free. Because that light, it is what he is learning to walk toward. Imagine a divine feminine named Alina. She once spent her nights crying into her pillow, asking the universe why he couldn't see her worth. She checked her phone constantly, rereading old messages, hoping for a sign that he still cared. But one day, something shifted. She woke up and realized that love isn't proven through pursuit. It's expressed through presence. So instead of chasing after a version of him who wasn't ready, she began chasing after herself. She started painting again, joined a meditation circle, and took morning walks in the quiet stillness of her own becoming. She stopped posting things for his attention and started living for her own joy. At first, the silence felt unbearable, but over time, she noticed that the ache was turning into peace, and without a single word spoken, something shifted in his field too. He reached out, not because she chased him, but because her stillness whispered to his soul, "Come home, but only if you're ready to meet me, where I've met myself." In choosing herself without bitterness, Alina became the mirror. Her glow didn't beg, it guided. Her embodiment of love without attachment became the very frequency that called him into his own awakening. Number 4. The masculine's silent awakening, a one-page rewrite. There is a sacred transformation unfolding behind the curtain of silence. Though the divine masculine may not be saying a word, don't mistake his quiet for inaction. Beneath the surface, his inner world is in upheaval. He feels everything. Memories from your shared past resurface like waves crashing against a long-forgotten shore. Vivid dreams bring your name back to his lips in the middle of the night, waking him with a sense of longing he can no longer deny. Emotions rise like tides, unexpected and intense, feelings he was never taught to navigate and for which he still has no language. His silence is not rejection, it is initiation. It's the voice of his soul finally beginning to speak louder than the noise of his ego. Where once he buried his truth under old patterns of avoidance, distraction, or emotional numbness, those patterns are now beginning to collapse. What used to protect him has become a prison. His body, the temple of his soul, starts to react. Restlessness takes root, a deep sadness lingers in his chest, and an ache he cannot name pulls at his spirit. This isn't just emotional discomfort, it is spiritual labor. The universe too is speaking to him now. Repeating numbers flicker on every clock and receipt. Songs come on the radio at just the right moment, piercing through his confusion like divine whispers. Signs surround him everywhere he turns. Reminders of you, of the connection, of the destiny he's been trying to outrun. And though he may not be ready to admit it aloud, something inside him knows. The portal is near. He feels it in his bones, in his dreams, in the stillness of early morning when the world is quiet and his soul is loud. This is not just a pause, it is preparation. The masculine is awakening, not with fanfare or grand gestures, but in the silent, sacred stillness where truth is born. Even if he can't yet put it into words, he knows a transformation is coming. And it begins not with speaking, but with feeling, with surrender, with the courage to face what he once ran from. So if you're listening for his voice, hear instead the thunder of his soul cracking open. Something powerful is shifting. He is not ignoring you. He is remembering who he is. If you've made it this far, it means you're deeply connected to this journey. Perhaps because you've felt the silence too, or you've seen the signs reflected in your own divine masculine. Take a moment now to breathe, to feel, and to honor everything that's rising within you. This isn't just his awakening, it's yours too. If this message resonates with your heart, we invite you to share your story in the comments below. You never know who your words might comfort or inspire. Or simply type the affirmation, "I trust the silent awakening." Let it be your declaration, your anchor, and your reminder that even in the quiet, transformation is happening. Number 5. Holding the frequency of truth. This phase of your journey isn't about chasing, proving, or pleading. It's not even about waiting. It's about holding steady in the truth of who you are. Right now, the divine masculine is moving through the eye of his storm, but this moment, this sacred space, is a test for both of you. Not in the old paradigm of endurance or suffering, but in a higher frequency of truth. For you, the divine feminine, the real challenge isn't about when or whether he'll return. It's about whether you can stay anchored in your worth, in your knowing, in the love that no longer abandons itself just to be chosen. Every time you choose clarity over confusion, trust over anxiety, embodiment over fear, you're not just surviving the silence, you're shaping the field. You're not passive, you're powerful. Your grounded presence becomes the space where truth vibrates so purely that it calls his soul out of hiding. Your silence is not empty. It is a frequency, a mirror, a sanctuary of light. It doesn't punish, it reveals. It shows him what it feels like to be in the presence of someone who no longer needs to be rescued or recognized in order to shine. This is how the divine feminine leads now, not with control, not with force, but with alignment. Not by trying to fix him, but by fully embodying her own light. Not by waiting in longing, but by radiating wholeness. You become the gravitational pull that his chaos orbits. Not because you beg for his love, but because you embody the kind of love that never betrays itself. He may not understand what's happening yet. He may feel disoriented, unsure, even triggered by your sovereignty. But your job isn't to dim your light so he feels safe. It's to hold it steady so he knows what truth feels like when he's ready to rise. And when he does, it won't be because you waited. It'll be because you remembered who you are and refused to forget. Number 6. Union begins within. The portal has opened. A new timeline has been activated, not just in the realm of the unseen, but in your own heart. Whether he crosses that threshold today, tomorrow, or in another lifetime, is no longer the axis on which your world spins. Because the truest beginning doesn't come when he returns. It comes the moment you choose yourself without hesitation, the moment you stop abandoning your soul for the sake of someone else's confusion. This is the initiation of union, not external, not dependent, but sovereign. If the divine masculine rises, it must be by his own will, not to chase you, not to win you back, but because he has remembered the truth of who he is. His rise, if it comes, will be for truth, for freedom, for alignment. And if it doesn't, if he remains caught in loops of fear, illusion, and delay, that no longer defines you. Your light doesn't dim for the sake of his readiness. It continues, radiant, unafraid, and unstoppable, because it is rooted in something deeper than desire. It is rooted in soul remembrance. This is the essence of sacred reunion, not two halves seeking completion, but two whole beings meeting in the light of truth. The connection, once frayed by illusion, now rebirths itself through your unwavering alignment. The field between you and him is alive, electric, trembling with potential. And even now, as he stands at the edge, uncertain, straddling the threshold between illusion and destiny, it is the vibration of you that speaks the loudest. Not your words, not your effort, your energy, your truth, your presence. It echoes like a divine invitation through the ethers, not demanding but reminding him of home, not a place but a frequency. And that home is found in the vibration of wholeness, of worth, of unwavering light. Union doesn't begin with his return. It begins the moment you rise from your own ashes, choose your own joy, and honor your own path. That is when everything changes. That is when the field realigns. That is when the sacred invitation is sent, not with desperation, but with power. And that is when love becomes destiny. At Spiritual Universe, we are not here to teach you how to wait. We are here to remind you how to hold truth. This journey isn't about clinging to the hope of someone's return. It's about anchoring yourself in your own alignment. Together, we've cultivated a space where clarity, sovereignty, and love can grow, not as conditions for union, but as foundations of truth. Whether he walks through the portal today, tomorrow, or not at all, the work has already been done. The field has been prepared. The energy has been cleansed. The soul has chosen truth. We do not chase, we call. We do not plead, we embody. And that embodiment becomes the invitation. If he chooses to rise, it will be because the vibration of truth calls him home. If he does not, that does not disrupt the radiance of the path we've built together. Because real love never diminishes in the absence of validation. It deepens in the presence of truth. If this message speaks to your heart, we invite you to affirm it in the comments by writing, "We no longer wait, we hold the truth." Let this be your declaration and your alignment. And if this resonates, please like this video, share it with a soul who may need this reminder, and watch the next message below the screen to continue your awakening.